Welcome to Real Talk Christian Podcast, where we drink coffee and have real conversations on faith, culture, and society. I'm your host, Chris Fuller, and on today's special bonus episode, we are finally dropping our interview with Desiree and Chris Bibb from the Gedi Music Festival, where they were able to sit down with us for a little bit and share their story, and we wanted to bring that story with you guys, so listen in. So glad you guys can join us on this special episode of Real Talk Christian Podcast. My co-host is currently not here because he's in the process of moving to a new home. So I actually am going to go help him out here in a couple hours to do some moving, but I figured I would go ahead and drop this bonus episode for you guys today. This is a conversation that we had with Desiree and Chris Bibbs while we were at the Gedi Music Festival back in July. So it's been about a month now, a little over a month since we recorded this, and life's just gotten the best of us, and so we haven't been able to drop it yet. But we're going to go ahead and drop it to you guys today. We're excited about it. It was a great time getting to spend those moments. I think it was about 20 minutes with Chris and Desiree, and just listening to their incredible story. So hope you guys enjoy this story and this journey along with us.
Desiree Bibb.
Desiree Bibb?
And I'm Chris Bibb.
Chris Bibb. All right.
Yeah, put that microphone a little closer to
right
you.
on
We're
up
here
to it.
Fuller hanging out at Gedi. We got our first guest in the studio.
Desiree and Chris. And what a great name, because I'm Chris too.
Chris Fuller.
Chris Fuller, exactly. So,
Man, Chris is an iffy name.
So what brought you guys, we were talking to Chris a little bit while you were away. What brought you guys to Gedi Music Festival, Desiree?
The fact that they stepped out the year in 2020 and had it anyway with the COVID. And David is my old classmate from New York.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. So you guys, have you guys just stayed connected throughout the whole thing, or?
No, Facebook's been the whole reason. So that's why I saw that they stayed. They had the concert or the show, the revival weekend. Mm-hmm. They had it in 2020 because he's on my Facebook, and I know, and I see, wow, that's really cool. I want to do that. I want to step out in faith. So that's what we said. My classmates call me the class ambassador because wherever I go, I try to find somebody that's on Facebook or that's Facebook where they live. Don't we? Yeah. We've met them in grocery store parking lots and Steak and Shake, and so anyway.
And you guys are out of Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you guys to get here?
About 6.5 hours this trip. Chicago was kind of rough. So.
Wow. And you guys are volunteering, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so what are you guys doing then here at the festival volunteer-wise?
Number of things.
Yeah. Parking. I did ushering today.
I did some security work today, and we love parking out there taking parking admissions. So when people come in and pay for parking,
right?
So we started that last year. Had a great time doing it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. We're the first people they see, so it's like, hi.
You're the welcoming committee.
Awesome.
Yeah, pretty much.
So how did you two meet? I want to hear the love story behind this.
You really? You got time for that?
I got time. Let's go.
All right. So I, for a number of years, drove a tow truck, right? Drove a wrecker. So I basically picked her up on the side of the road.
Literally.
You legit picked your wife up on the side of the road.
If that wasn't God ordained, I don't know what was.
I know.
It's an orange wrecker, and I love orange.
She's like, I'm a sucker for orange and truck drivers.
Yeah, that's what my children would say. I've been dispatching my whole life.
Oh, okay.
And so I knew the business because I was working in a wrecker service in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, wow, cool, wrecker driver, yay. So I asked him out, but he was with somebody.
Oh.
So I had to turn her down, obviously. You
Yeah.
know, we weren't married or anything. It was just a girlfriend. But so then, 2 years later, we still kept in contact because our business did business, or my business did business with her business.
So therefore, you guys were forced to interact.
I don't think we were in contact. We were stalking each other because it's hard to see an orange wrecker and know that the dispatcher's on call when you hear the dispatcher. So
that is absolutely wild. So if you don't mind, part of what we do on the show is we like to hear people's stories of not just stories of life, but also stories of faith and how you came to follow and trust Jesus. And then what has your journey been with Jesus going forward with that?
Well, why don't you talk about how you had faith? So we got together. It took us a couple times, the key unlock and whatever. And so he asked me to marry him, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then I got cold feet. And I broke up with him for 9 months, and then I went out to a friend of ours in the country, and I prayed and prayed. God's like, I gave it to you. Hello, stupid. And so.
That's hilarious. That's like the lifeline.
Yeah.
Hey, send me a lifeline. I did. I sent you 6.
I sent you Chris in a big orange wrecker.
Very true.
You know what a wrecker is, too, don't you? You're excited. You're a truck guy.
So I went with him and went to him, and I apologized, and he's like, okay. I said, what? He's like, I want you back. I'm like, why would you want me back? I mean, so we got back together and we got married a month later.
Wow. And how many years ago was that?
11.
We met in 2008 and we got married 2001.
Yep, 1 of 11. So
wow.
January 1st to 1. So I can't never forget that. That's the nice part.
That's the nice part. That's the real nice part.
It's like, what's my Oh yeah, I remember now.
It's just counting back how many years,
Yeah, right.
Well, and our pastor, he had challenged us to stay abstinent during it. So we did. It's so wonderful when you know why. If anybody wants to do that, do it, because it really is a reason why we did.
We've inspired a lot of kids and stuff. Yeah. We did a lot with drum corps. All our kids were in drum corps and everything, and a lot of kids are like, "How do you do it?" What? Just teenagers getting in, young,
right? Because you guys were adults when you guys,
Right.
Yeah. The day of our wedding, they're like, "Today's the day." Like, oh my god.
People made jokes with Beth about that too. So my wife, we actually interviewed her on the podcast. So that's
how we met her.
I met her on the podcast. So our first ever conversation was live for everybody to hear. Yeah. And so because we wanted to interview someone who...
It was recorded for your memories. That's what it was.
There you go. So she was a foster mom, adopted all 5 of her daughters out of foster care, and we wanted to have someone in the foster care world on the podcast just to talk about that world where most Christians just don't know anything about. And so we asked a friend, and she's like, no, you don't want to talk with me. You want to talk with her, Beth. And so we got married, but everyone was so confused with Beth because she's a single girl. Started fostering at 24, I think is what it was. Never been married, never dated. I was her first kiss, and she was 28. And so there's so many people, same idea, just being adults, where it's like, how y'all do that? It's like, you do?
Yeah.
With the Lord's help?
Yeah. There was reasons why we had to leave early, go home, and whatever.
Yep.
We kept it.
Which is awesome because we just had a conversation around Christians and dating that we just recorded a little bit ago.
Today.
We were talking about that same thing of, it gets harder the older you get because, it's at the end of the day, it's like you're adults. You don't have to leave. Like, it's not like you're 16-year-olds, like your parents are kicking your boyfriend out of the house. Like, it's like it's 10 o'clock, go home.
Right.
Yep. No, we had to, I would tuck her into bed and then, just kind of
bye.
Give her a hug and then, get up and go, and we did until we lived apart. I had my place, she had her place. And even when we got our place, which was about a month before we got married, it was still separate. We didn't stay together or anything like that because, he challenged us and we talked about it and we're like, we're both married before, and divorced, and so we're like, well, this didn't seem to work before, so let's try something new. And thanks God, so it's really been strong because we've been able to focus on each other more than sex or anything like
drugs,
that.
And rock and roll.
Right.
Yeah.
80s.
Right.
So have you guys been able to, you already mentioned it, using that testimony a lot for a lot of the kids in drum corps. Now, when you say drum corps, are we talking like straight up drum line, like marching band, drums?
Like Drum Corps International.
The International.
Yeah.
I knew a guy who did that. Yeah, over in New Carlisle.
Don't call them a marching band.
No, they're not part of a marching band. So how have you guys been able to use your guys' story specifically in drum corps with those kids that you guys are working with?
Well, my daughter is a warden, so she was part of making sure that everything stayed the way it was supposed to as far as being abstinent, like making sure girls go home. We weren't afraid to tell them.
No,
we weren't afraid.
We talked a lot of them, but a lot of them really, I think it brought a different level or different type of respect. That they're not, because drum corps you age out when you're 21. And so we had kids that were in, their prime, if you will, right? It was 18, 19, 20, 21. And I had, a lot of kids that knew us that grew into that. So they really were, I think it really said something to them in a different way that they weren't necessarily used to hearing.
I don't think that they may have used it, but I hope that they will down the road, you know. So there was actually adult friends that we had that I was like, come on, you can do that. No, I can't. I'm like, yes, you can. So we don't never know where that led people. So we can only hope that.
But that's that's what God called us to do, and that's what you guys did, and especially with you guys, because I'm divorced as well, and terrible story.
Yeah.
But so I get it, like being divorced and having 2 kids from previous marriage, and then all of a sudden Beth enters the picture, and so I'm tracking. I am tracking Full Sail right now.
Yeah.
So if you guys could give a piece of advice to young couples that are maybe not even like teenagers, but adults that are dating and thinking about marriage, what advice would you give to them?
Marriage takes 3. God first, and and then the marriage, then you and me, right? And we got to paste it on our wall, right? I mean, it's God's got to be first. God's got.
And if you don't mind me asking, just for married man to married man, how do you guys do that? Like, are there actual?
What's that look like for you guys?
Like, are there definite intentional steps that you do to keep God in the marriage?
God provides, seeing things like that, claiming it. God provides. God is with us. Hey, devil, get out. God's got this. We don't want you here. A lot of that, I would say, is just constantly claiming
like intentionally reminding
always,
yourself and claiming the truths of what
kids,
that is.
The family, it's not. No, we always speak about God. We always try to, at least.
So keep them at the center of your conversation, of your thoughts, and stuff like that.
Everybody that knows us knows that this is the place to go at our house if they have questions about God. So,
awesome.
I mean,
and do people take you guys up on that?
We're not,
Yeah,
we have.
Really?
Yeah. That's awesome.
we don't ever, we intentionally do not ever, and now it's to a point where we don't slip any, but when we started doing it, it won't, say, GD or JC in conversation unless we're speaking about them. But we will intentionally look at somebody that has one who's talking to us and slips with it. I'll be, gosh darn, or she'll be God bless it.
I said, God bless it, you never get anywhere damned in him. He gave me that job in 2003. It's a story that I was living in at that time, but he gave me that job. He goes, I want you to do this, so I say, God bless it, you never get anywhere damning him to anybody. I mean, my postman said it one day, and I said something. He looked at me, he's like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't
It's
matter.
on the TV, I say it. It's just automatic. And people look at me, and I've got friends that actually don't say it now.
Or
but
they
they
catch
do
themselves,
think about it.
and it's awesome.
And they think about it, they think
or
about
JC, she'll see like Jesus Christ is my brother.
Yeah, God is my father. So, yeah, I don't know.
So you guys are almost proclaiming God in these ways, and it's making people think twice when they're around you guys.
And they do.
Right.
Yes.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
And,
That is the way we do it.
people that aren't even followers, that hear it and they say it just because they know, right? But eventually, hopefully they will be followers,
Right.
Right.
You guys are influencing them, right?
Yeah.
I hope so.
You're being the hands and feet of Jesus, and you're showing Christ through your life.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, she's crazy, but she loves God.
But I feel, I hope that's what they say about our family with Beth and us.
We do. No.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, with those friends that you do that, because intentionally bringing God into the center of it, I'm trying to think the best way to ask this question. Do people look at you guys as like crazy Christians? Like, or is it more just the fact of you guys live your life and you guys honor God the best you can and people respect you for it?
That's awesome.
They know we're crazy, but
Well,
And Christians.
really, who's normal? I mean,
right. Oh yeah, yes, we're all dysfunctional.
Yes,
that's for sure.
yes.
I mean, if somebody does, we've never heard it. But, I mean, we pray before every meal, whether we're sitting in Perkins or whether we're sitting at McDonald's or whether we're sitting at home by ourselves.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter. We pray with our kids. We pray, we pray over each other intentionally. I will cast that devil out of her, if he's in there and she's having a down day, and I've put my hands on her and just cast him out before, and he's not welcome in our house.
Yeah.
We have a grandson that actually he loves Jesus. They all are learning. Okay, they're 8, 7, 6, and 1 year old. And anyway, he's like, devil, I told you to get out of here today, and he's 8 years old. So, that's the proclaiming,
Right.
Constantly giving it to him. So,
Right.
yeah.
They'll see his picture and, oh, that's Jesus. Because they see it and we're pointing it out all the time.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, so they just know us to be that way. We're not nuts about like pushing it on anybody. Yeah. We're just living it,
So. It's that little the little stuff.
Yeah.
Like she, wrote, the 5 minutes
is better than none.
Right, 5 minutes is better than none, right?
Right.
And so maybe it's 5 seconds that's better than none, right? But her 5 minutes are incredible.
Yeah, well, we love everybody. We need a mansion because we are always bringing in the wayward. And we love everybody.
Awesome.
You got a mansion and want to get away. So that's another thing. We're always very open armed.
Awesome.
So, because he is, and unconditional.
Yeah.
Unconditional is a big, huge word. He restores. He's unconditional. I mean, those are two of my favorite words with God.
And what I'm hearing you guys say is you guys don't just say you're Christians.
You live it.
Y'all live it.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
That's wild.
Why wouldn't you?
Right, exactly.
And that's the thing, but there's so many people that, we talk to, and maybe it's just the parts that we come from, but the idea of just opening your house to somebody, let them move in, is foreign. You don't do that.
Well, and a lot of the people that we've had conversation with, they got that old story, fake it till you make it, right? So I just want to present myself to be a Christian because I don't really feel like being a Christian right now. But you guys are living it every single day, and not just to others, but to each other, which is awesome.
Which are there challenges that come along with that, with just opening up your homes and your hearts and all that?
Yes.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
You're like, oh man, people do things differently.
Oh yeah.
And don't take care of things differently. So that's where we have to communicate. And say, hey, look, you're here for the time being. Can you do something?
House rules.
Yeah. It's hard to do that because you just want to please them, but I can't do that. So.
But awesome. We all, pleasing them, but at the same time, we want to give them direction.
Right.
Well, yeah.
In whatever God's direction is.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
I mean, God, God won't give you something you can't handle.
Exactly.
And and as much as we do, and as much as everything that we do, that devil sure likes to attack us pretty hard.
Right, and sometimes I feel like, sometimes God even gives us things we can't handle, so we have to rely on him even more.
Right.
That's where it gets wild.
That's a good way to explain what we just went through. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a very good way. We were just in a very dark situation 3 months ago. I don't really want to go into it, but that is a good way to put it, what you just said. He gave us something really big, and it was like, at first, when it happened, I learned the difference between sobbing and crying, and it was really just very upsetting. Yeah. Very. And anyway, so I started thinking about it and asking God for help, and He was pulling me out of it. Every day was getting a little easier. And then last Thursday, I got a phone call from my daughter. Mom, I want to come home. So I got on a plane on Saturday, and she and her 4 boys and I drove her home. Wow. So, but it was such a big deal that it ripped my heart out. Yeah. And I was like, I can't do this, God. I can't do this. It's like I had to give it to Him.
Right.
It was really hard. It was really hard. But it got better because I was like, okay, I can do this. You are giving me this. It's going to be okay. I know they're alive and well, and that, that made a huge difference. I kept giving it to that, okay, God, I know they're alive and well and where they're at. Yeah. Many people can't say that.
Right.
So it was a huge challenge, but I think that as I was growing into what He was wanting me to, He gave me the relief and gave me back my family, our family. But anyway, it was a big deal.
Wow.
So that was great. Thank you.
I
needed to hear that.
No, you bet. So one last question to end our time together. You guys have a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience. I don't want to say old, but you guys are much older than us. So, something.
Are you sure?
I mean, I'm 30, so I don't know.
Just kidding.
I could be one of the kids.
We're hoping the Bible says the older shall teach the younger.
Well, that's what it is. So I would say, and this is something I've been asking people a lot lately is, okay, so people who have been in the faith for a while, who have walked the path, who have walked the journey, have done the highs, done the lows, done all the things, what would you say would be your one piece of advice, or just even one spiritual... advice is the only word I'm thinking of. What piece of wisdom would you give someone who's coming
nugget?
up?
What spiritual golden nugget would you give somebody?
Yeah.
Love them.
Just love big.
Okay.
Just love them. Love them. Listen to them. To tell everybody about Him. One of the prayers, the one day at a time prayer. Well, it's
I actually don't know that.
Yeah, you do.
Do I?
Yeah, don't we? What is it?
It's the you hear a lot about tied together with sobriety and everything.
Living one day at a time, accepting hardships, that's the pathway to peace. Taking as he did this sinful world, and not as I would have it, trusting that I will be reasonably right and supremely happy with him forevermore. So
Holy cow.
Those words
I like that.
are really good. It's the recovery prayer that they do at, why can't I think of it?
Celebrate recovery?
Yeah.
Okay.
How does it go?
They do it there. They do it in a lot of
Everybody
recovery
knows it.
programs, but it's it's
I can't think.
see, you're putting us on the spot.
You guys know the God grant me the serenity to
That's
accept
it.
the things
Yes.
I
Yes.
can't
Yes.
change.
Yes.
The
Yes.
courage to
So-
change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Right.
That comes from that.
That's the first part.
Nobody
okay.
knows the second
The
part.
whole rest part of that prayer. Right?
okay.
And when you say it, yes, it is very powerful.
Yeah.
And because you're committing to I mean, really committing, and it just
We use that in our wedding, but it goes, living one day at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking as he did the sinful world and not as I would have it, trusting that he will make things right so that I may live reasonably and happy with him for supremely evermore. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I
Isn't
like
it
it.
crazy how nobody knows
Wow.
that?
Yeah, that
I've
is
never
great.
heard that
Living
part.
one day at a time, it's actually describing much more than the first part of the
Yeah.
poem.
Well, I just got my nugget. Holy cow.
right?
That was a good nugget. Is that
a
both
good
y'all's
one.
nugget, or do you got another nugget?
I would say, and I say it a lot, right? Because we do help a lot of people out, and it's God's path for us, I guess. But we have helped. Anyway, don't think that there's anything bad enough that you can't get through, right? And when you think something is that bad, just look at Jesus and what he went through.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than that, right?
Right.
He went through a
amen.
lot for us, right?
Right.
And so, people are like, wow, and if they don't know, then I get the joy of telling them the story, right?
And that's, I mean, is that Hebrews where it talks about like we have such a high priest because he suffered in the same way that we have suffered.
Yes.
Like
Yep,
he
Hebrews.
knows exactly what it's like to be a man,
Right.
and what it's like to be a human and deal with the griefs and heartache.
Right.
And if he can do it and he did it till the end, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the encouragement that we're
And
supposed to have.
And that end is for us, and that's
Right.
a beautiful thing. He died for us,
Exactly.
to give us life, and it's an amazing thing.
That's
Could
cool.
you
Really
do
is.
it? I mean, this is something that I think about and talk to people. If I had to be in Jesus' place, I couldn't have made it to the. I couldn't.
Oh,
I'm
no,
out.
I would have been
You know,
out
and
too.
I think about that often. It's like, oh man, there would be no heaven.
To
if
know
it was
you have
me.
the power to get out of it
Yeah,
and
no.
not
Yeah.
use it,
Yeah,
that's a
Yeah.
huge thing.
Well, even the fact that in the garden where he said, no, God, I don't want to do this. Take this cup from me. If there's any way, but not my will, but
right,
your. I'm like,
exactly.
holy
Right,
cow.
right.
Yeah. So, well, Desiree, Chris, we appreciate you guys taking time with us today.
This was a treat.
Nothing
Thank
out.
you guys.
Thank you
Well,
so
thank
much.
for
Thank you.
having us. I'm glad she let me talk.
Yeah. Wow. That was a great story, and we had a great time with those two at the Gedi Music Festival, along with a lot of other people that stopped by our booth and just had conversations. Not too many people were brave enough to jump on and record with us, just Chris and Desiree, really. But we had a great time anyways connecting with you. Go ahead and check us out at realtalkchristianpodcast.com if you have not checked out our website. You can also reach out to us on email at realtalkchristianpodcast@gmail.com. You can reach us on Facebook or Instagram at Real Talk Christian Podcast. You can also go ahead and text us if you wanted to, 574-400-5352. I know a lot of you have been doing that recently, and we are here for it. If you have not yet joined the Facebook community group, go to our page and go to our groups, and you can find our Real Talk Christian Podcast community group, or you can type in Real Talk Christian Podcast community. And join in on the conversations, not just with Mark and I, but with you, the other listeners. It's been a great experience for Mark and I to kind of just sit back and join in the conversation with you guys rather than you guys always having to join in the conversation with us. So yeah, go ahead and do that. If you have not already, go over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification, ding, And check us out. I am working currently on some apologetic stuff. I'm not quite ready to release any more videos. We do have one extra video that if you're on YouTube and have subscribed, you can see it. Otherwise, you don't know about it. Beyond that, go ahead and give us a review at Apple iTunes. Those help us get into the ears of other listeners. You can also leave us a rating on Spotify. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. And until next time, take it easy.